Hey guys, I'm Cassandra. I got into every school that I applied to, including all 8 Ivy League universities, and now I've coached over 250 students on their journeys to their dream school. So today, at your request, we are breaking down UChicago. So let's get into it. UChicago has 2 essays, and for the word counts, there are actually no hard limits. Now, the admissions website does have recommendations, recommends 300 to 600 words for the why us question, and 500 to 700 words for the extended question. My suggestion is to aim sort of in the middle of these parameters. I would definitely try not to go over 650 for the extended essay because nobody in reality wants to read a longer essay than your personal statement. Okay, let's get into it. The first question, how does the University of Chicago, as you know it now, satisfy your desire for a particular kind of learning, community, and future? Please address with some specificity your own wishes and how they relate to UChicago. So what does desire mean? This means they really want to see your intellectual curiosity. Maybe you open this essay with an anecdote that really demonstrates like the first time you went into research and you were really fascinated by something, or an experience that you had as a kid with your field, something that made you go wide-eyed with wonder. They want to see that you are hungry to learn. So besides, being a nerd and including jargon from your field to show passion and mastery, I would also consider showing your blood, sweat, and tears. What does that mean? So yeah, you can show off the knowledge up here. Like you can show off all these facts that you know about your field, things that you're curious to explore. But what I also want you to include is physically, like, what does it look like for you to be so obsessed with something? Like, what does it look like for you to be hungry to learn? Maybe that looks like staying up until like 4 a.m., going down a rabbit hole of articles. Or maybe that looks like literal blood, sweat, and tears, as in like you are bleeding or you're sweating a lot because you're putting together the next amazing robot. And like with all intellectual curiosity essays, the more specific you are about your goals, the better. For example, you might have an interest in medicine, but you're not sure exactly what kind of medicine that you want to practice. That's okay, but even some general sense of direction really, really helps. If you already know that you like working with kids, maybe you do consider writing about becoming perhaps a pediatrician. So specificity, I think, is really, really key for this essay, because once you figure out what your ultimate goals are, then in these kind of why us essays, you can kind of position the school as an answer to how you're going to reach that goal. Like you're going to use this class to give you this skills to get you to this step so that you can accomplish your final goal of doing this and helping these kind of people. And this question is really interesting too, because it brings in this idea of community. So what kind of communities do you really thrive in? Now, everyone's going to say they thrive in collaborative and diverse learning communities. Okay, but what does that actually mean? Do you like communities that are really detail-oriented? Do you like communities that ask a lot of big theoretical questions? Do you like communities that bring together super, super different disciplines? And you have to be specific about what disciplines when you write about interdisciplinary studies. There are just so many different qualities of a learning community that one can gravitate towards. So be specific about what kind of community you are looking for and how that matches what is being offered at UChicago. So of course, there is the famous extended essay for UChicago. There are so many options to choose from, and you can choose from past prompts too, or make your own. So what does this freedom that you have tell me? They just want to see that you are creative and you can, keyword coming, synthesize. They want to see that you are a bright thinker, that you can bring together very different parts of your life and connect the dots in surprising and fun and interesting ways. So for me, like, it's really, really important that my students have a grand time writing this essay. If you do not have fun writing this essay, then why are they bothering to ask this question in the first place? Like, AOs want to have fun reading this. They want a glimpse into the way that you think. Maybe your mind has some interesting patterns of thinking, or you have a lot of interesting theories and hypotheses. This is where you will show that off. Also consider this. UChicago only has these 2 essays, right? And then plus your personal statement. So you have to think out of these 3 essays, what is really, 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 really important for you to capture? So there is an element of almost like working backwards, figure out what you want to talk about for the first essay, and then pick an area of your life that's super important to you, that you want to show off more about, that you can talk a lot about, that you can yap on and on about. Like that is appropriate for this question here. The chance to show off a new side about you and to show them that you are a high-level, creative, multidisciplinary thinker. That's why their questions are so interesting, right? They're bringing together different topics from different fields to see, like, what can you do with this? Is there an angle that you can approach this that is unexpected and unique and surprising, right? So when I read this essay, I hope to be surprised, one, and I hope to learn something new, right? Because you have a lot of mastery and experience in a field that I might not. So I hope that I learn something new from this. And most importantly, I hope that I have a lot of fun reading this. I think a great way to get inspired for this particular essay is not just to read like old essays that have worked, but read really, really good writing. So read op-eds in the New York Times, the New Yorker, the Atlantic, read think pieces where people are offering a totally unexpected angle into a field that you are familiar with or a field that you're not familiar with, right? So good writing, when we read that and absorb that, that is how we are going to make our own writing really, really good and start to see, okay, how do people talk about original ideas in ways that are accessible and fun and interesting? And if you enjoy writing this essay, that means that you will do really, really well in university, because honestly, university is all about writing papers on things that you never dreamed that you would write about. So for example, I have written about Money Heist or La Casa de Papel, that Netflix show, as a picture of art as resistance. I wrote a college paper about whether or not MCU superheroes are fascist. I wrote a poetry collection for my critical refugee studies class. For my senior thesis project for ethnicity, race, and migration, one of my majors, I wrote about Malaysia's national dishes and the impact that colonialism has had on the dishes. Like in college, you're going to write a lot of papers and do a lot of research on fascinating things that you have never imagined. So this is just dipping your toes and like getting you ready for that. So please, please, please have fun writing this essay. And yeah, let me know what school you guys want me to break down next. Check out my guide and I'll see you guys next time.